Good morning, everybody. I'll just give 1 minute just to let some more people through. Great, I'll get cracking. So welcome to today's webinar from Team Jump, all about building a business case for sustainability engagement. I hope your week's going well. You're staying cool and enjoying the sunshine. Do let us know where you're dialing in from in our chat box and share anything you might feel useful as we go along. We've got some great presenters today, and our aim is to really provide you with some good content, so hopefully each of you can take something away, use it in the workplace, or pass it on within your organisations if they find it interesting and useful. So our speakers, we're hoping to speak for around 45 minutes in total to allow some time for questions at the end. However, do feel free to use our question box as and when they pop into your head, and then we can come back at the end and talk about them and answer them. So we've got myself doing a short intro to Jump and a short recap on our findings from our Sustainability Engagement Trends Report. Ania Abbott, Decade of Change and Engagement Manager from London Gatwick Airport, is joining us to talk about their efforts in engaging their staff in sustainability, but importantly, how they got the partnership over the line in the first place by building a compelling business case. And Rob, our Client Success Director, presenting 10 steps for success. So a short intro to Jump, if you could change slides, please, Sam. Yeah, that should have been on a minute ago, actually. Change to the next one. There we go. So Team Jump is a sustainability engagement tech company based in Brixton in London. There's 13 of us all working towards this same mission. So our mission is to empower and motivate people to take action for a sustainable future. To empower and motivate people to do this, we believe that, and to hit your net zero targets, we believe you need to get your people on board to get anywhere near those targets. We all know it's not quite as simple as that, and changing culture and beliefs is hard, but it can be done. So today I'm going to share some results from a survey we conducted at the end of last year, looking into sustainability engagement trends, and the research we did brings together research from the industry as well as a survey of over 1,500 workers in the UK. So I'll chat a little bit about that. But before I do, I wanted to do a poll to wake us all up. And the poll is based around some figures regarding workers and how they prioritise sustainability. So I thought I'd test you guys, and you may find the results interesting. These are not the results from our survey, but from reports from other sources, including Deloitte. So there's going to be 3 questions. So do feel free to answer which you think is the closest to it. So the first question is, what percentage of workers think their employer should prioritise sustainability? So what percentage of workers think their employer should prioritise sustainability? Okay, what's the top answer, Sam?
I'm not sure if I can see that quite yet.
Okay, no worries. So the next question is, what percentage of workers say they will change jobs due to sustainability concerns? And then the last question is, what percentage of workers say they actually research the environmental policy before accepting a job? Okay, so the first.
Responses are coming through now.
Cool.
Do you want me to tell you what's the top answer on each one?
Yep.
So most people have said that 66% of workers think that the employer should prioritize sustainability.
Okay.
Most people think that 45% of workers say they will change jobs due to sustainability concerns. And most people have said by quite a large majority that 37% of workers say they research the environmental policy before accepting a job.
Okay, interesting. So most of you, actually the answers are generally higher than what you've answered, which is really interesting. So the actual, if you could swap slides, Sam. So the general consensus is that workers are prioritising sustainability more and more. 82% say my employer should prioritise sustainability. So they can obviously see the work you're doing. Is it visible? Is senior leadership leading the way? 83% say they'll be more loyal to a sustainable organisation. So what are people saying in kind of your exit interviews? Has anyone brought up sustainability and what you're doing? 23% say they will change jobs due to sustainability concerns. This is definitely something that we can't afford to do if it means losing great people and the cost of recruitment. And another one in there is 55% say they research the environmental policy before accepting a job. So are people talking about it within interviews? Do they know about your environmental policy? Is it easy to find and is it easy to digest? So I hope you found that poll interesting. It's good to know that people are out there and they are wanting to do more. Next slide, please, Sam. So climate concern is on the rise amongst people and organisations globally, and behaviour change can advance climate action. Yet individuals struggle to move their climate concern into action. And this is what's called the awareness action gap. It's a general term, it's not coined by Jump. Sometimes it can be known as the awareness action inconsistency or values action gap, but mainly it is the awareness action gap. And Rob will be touching on this again later. And what did Team Jump find out about the Sustainability Engagement Trends Work survey that we did? I'm not going to go into loads of detail today as I want to leave time for Ania and Rob, but Sam will share our report in the chat box before the end of the call. So if you compare awareness to action, you can see that 76% of employees are aware of the organisation's sustainability strategy and vision, but only 21% of your employees are taking enough action to properly contribute to the organisation's sustainability goals. So yes, people are aware, but people want to do more. And how can they? Are you equipping them, empowering your people to do more? So what are you waiting for? You've got to harness that desire that your staff are already feeling, your employees are already feeling, through engagement, education, and culture shift. Next slide, please, Sam. And then just looking at what motivates people. So these figures are what people who responded chose as important for them when engaging with sustainability in their organisation. So what motivates them basically? 80% say rewards and recognition. You know, it works. Reward people for doing more and doing better, and they're more likely to repeat that behaviour. And this relates back to the behaviour change models we use, which is COM-B and EAST, which Sam can also share. So you've got more information about how we base what we base our programs on. And most of our clients have monetary rewards, or at least recognition via our success badges in their trophy cabinet on their program, and they say that really helps to motivate them. 81% seeing other colleagues participate. So, you know, keeping up with the Joneses mentality, creating visibility around what they're doing. Our programs have an activity feed which creates visibility about what people are doing. Are you celebrating things and sharing successes on comms vehicles you may already have, such as Teams channels and Slack? And 86% say they want its resources that they have available to them to learn how to integrate sustainability into their role. So how engaged is your L&D department? Is information and training easily accessible? Is it interesting and engaging? So it's really interesting to get that feedback from some people across the UK. And the next slide, please, Sam. So before I hand over to Ania, I've actually been doing some work in customer service recently, and I'm privy to kind of first-hand feedback we get. And we often get positive feedback. We even had last year someone who was so taken with all of the information they learned about sustainability from our programme in their role at Newcastle Hospital that they pursued a career in it. But this really stood out to me. A Uni of Edinburgh user said, "I've really enjoyed participating in Take Action for Sustainability, especially how the activities encourage hands-on engagement. The initiative has inspired me to apply what I've learned in my MSc programme to real-world actions. The prizes are a great incentive, but what I value most is the opportunity to reflect on my impact and explore new ways to contribute to sustainability." And that really does demonstrate the effectiveness of closing that awareness action gap. So I love that. Right, handing over to Ania. So Ania, welcome to the virtual stage.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today and coming to see what I have to say on the subject of sustainability engagement. I'm really looking forward to sharing the journey we've been on at London Gatwick so far, and I hope it proves useful for you at whatever stage in the journey you might be at. So let's go straight in. Next slide, please. So I've been introduced as the Decade of Change and Engagement Manager. What is a Decade of Change and Engagement Manager? So let's start with the easy part. This is me. I grew up in the middle of nowhere. My dad always said that I grew up feral. I've always been the sort of eco warrior. I was the environment rep in my high school, and then I'm just one of the lucky ones who's able to make a career out of what they love. So I went to the University of Leeds, I studied geography, and then I went to the London School of Economics to do a master's in environmental policy and regulation. And actually I reflect on that time because I did my thesis on behalf of the London School of Economics, which was an incredible opportunity, but it meant that I didn't choose the subject. They asked me to research on something that they were working on at the time, and that was an honor, and I was really happy to do it. And so I did my thesis on how organizations can ignite sustainability change from within, which at the time felt really niche and utterly unemployable, and has since become the foundation of my career. So that was serendipitous, to say the least. I'm a practitioner member of the Institute of Environmental Management and Assessment, and the co-chair of Gatwick Pride. I'm the mother of 2 rabbits who are up here on the sides, in part as a warning, because I am working from home and I cannot promise that they won't start breaking things whilst I'm online. So if I disappear, that's why. So that's sort of who you're hearing from today. Next slide, please. So what is Decade of Change? Decade of Change is actually the London Gatwick Sustainability Strategy. And we are in our second decade of change. The first one finished in 2019 and was very successful for the goals that we had set out in that time. And so we decided to go again. That consistency of strategy is in and of itself sustainable, right? So this is our second decade of change. We've got 10 years to achieve 10 goals. And I always make the clarification that that is 10 goals over 10 years, not a goal a year. And we'll delve into what that consists of in a little bit more detail. So next slide, please. So the 10 goals is a lot to rattle off if you're one of our employees. Do I expect you, if you don't work in the sustainability team or adjacent to the sustainability team, to be able to rattle off all of our goals? Not yet. We're only 18 months into our sustainability strategy, maybe in a couple more years. But for now, we do also have 3 overarching themes to the strategy. And they're what you would expect. We focus on people and communities, focusing on net zero, and we're focusing on the local environment. Next slide, please. So we've committed to delivering a lot. For each of our 10 goals, we have published a roadmap which sets out the exact mark scheme against which anybody can decide if we've been successful in achieving our decade of change at the end of 2030. This is very much about being able to go to anybody in the airport, handing them the roadmap and handing them the latest performance summary and saying, do you think we did it? It's really all about that transparency and that credibility when it comes to what it is that we're trying to achieve. And indeed, every year we publish a performance report with verified data for each of the KPIs that are set out in that roadmap. So within my role, I look after the program of initiatives that deliver the decade of change, and I'm also responsible for the measurement of that progress in that I manage the ESG team as well, so the reporting team. Next slide, please. So all this to say, we cannot get away without achieving things or with not achieving things. And it is simply too much for myself or for the wider sustainability team to do the achieving. I always say when I'm doing any kind of engagement with the business that I'm fairly comfortable with my sustainability credentials, but that is not what turns the dial on making the business sustainable. In actual fact, that takes every expert in the business, the subject matter experts who understand what they do, to understand what it is that we're trying to achieve from a sustainability perspective and how they can apply that subject matter expertise to turning that dial on sustainability. And that is why, as well as the Decade of Change strategy and the ESG reporting, that's why I manage engagement, because fundamentally, I won't have good news to report and I won't be achieving against that decade of change if we don't have every single person at at the airport involved in that journey with us. So where did that journey start? My role was new at Gatwick when I joined, so there was no approach to sustainability engagement when I joined. As I said, we were decades into sustainability strategy, but engagement was a new chapter for us. So the first thing that we had to do was build that approach to engagement. Next slide, please. So to build that approach, we started with a survey to see what the state of the situation we were starting from was. And very similar to actually some of the key points that Laura raised at the beginning, most of our colleagues wanted to get involved in sustainability. Quite a few of them felt like they didn't quite understand what their role might be. And some of them just didn't want to get involved, which is, that's okay. You have to be comfortable with the fact that there's going to be a chunk of people who just want to come to work and do their job. Next slide, please. What was really fundamentally important was part of that survey demonstrated that there was a huge disparity in understanding across our three themes what sustainability meant. So there was net zero was the most widely understood, which was unsurprising because this survey was launched in sort of June 2023. And in March of 2023, we had just accelerated our net zero target. So it had been 2040 and we brought it forward to 2030. So that was really big news, very exciting for staff and externally. And so it's not surprising that that was when people thought sustainability, they thought net zero. Local environment was also better understood. And I think, again, that's fairly unsurprising because these subjects that sort of like waste, water, biodiversity, when you think sustainability, a lot of people do jump to environment. But more than half of the business did not fully appreciate that our sustainability strategy had any element of social to it, which is particularly unrepresentative of the strategy because of our 10 goals, 5 of them sit in that people and communities piece. So that was a really good hook for me to try and fix within a year, if you will, or try to improve upon within a year. So next slide, please. We also, entirely separate to JUMP, this is galaxies away from JUMP, we also engaged with the COM-B model of engagement. And so I'll summarize for you before you read the paper. This is all about building the sustainability capability of an organization. And this, by the way, this is true of any kind of engagement. I actually use this in my Pride hat as well. So empowering colleagues to act with the information and the understanding that they need in order to turn the dial on sustainability. That's that capability piece. And then providing the opportunities for colleagues to use that knowledge. We can't just give them a load of information and then not empower them with the space to do something with it. And then maintaining motivation, again, to Laura's point around reward recognition. Why should you show up and take those opportunities to use your newfound knowledge? The first few times it's going to be because you're excited, but we're all human. We all love a pat on the back or a high five or maybe even a little treato. So that is the foundation of that COM-B model. And that is the theory upon which we based our sustainability engagement strategy. The next slide, please, and you're going to have to click with me here, Sam. So we launched Be the Change, and this is a play on words. I hope you caught it, but I'm going to explain the punchline just in case because I can't see your faces. So Decade of Change is our sustainability strategy, and we want to empower our colleagues to be the change. So how did we do that? We've started a lunch and learn program. So this is very much about building that capability, consistent every sort of 6 weeks. We have either internal or external speakers who come and talk on a variety of subjects. Next, click, please. We also amended our internal reward and recognition scheme. So the scheme that we have enables us to give virtual high fives to any of our colleagues for things that they've done that align to our business values. So for example, together we're a team. So we've added Be the Change as an option against which you can receive a high five in order to start instilling that motivation piece. We also launched our Changes Champions. Now you'll sense a theme here. Changes, and I wish I'd written this down. It stands for Climate and Habitat and Net Zero Group for Engagement and Sustainability. They did try and pull it together, and those are our Changes Champions. And they are, again, so this is about that opportunity. They find the opportunities to leverage their passion and sustainability. Here they're rewilding a patch of grass near one of the smoking areas. I go and have my lunch there like a couple of times a week because it's gorgeous. And they're working on a plastic free July campaign at the moment. So just this is very much employee led, finding opportunities and leveraging them. Next clip, please. This was my royal wedding sustainability roadshow, and it continues to be every year. We've now actually run 2 of these. In January, we start the year with a sustainability roadshow, which is a week of 24/7 sustainability. We run an operational business. Someone is working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and so is sustainability. That means there, in every hour of every minute of every day, there is an opportunity for someone to come up with a sustainability idea. And so in the roadshow, I run around and speak to as many people in the business. I'm out on the airfield with the fire station, on the security lanes, and we run some conferences for our staff to really just make sure that everybody is talking about sustainability. That short, sharp, really concentrated approach to sustainability has to launch the concept of engagement. Again, we're not launching sustainability. Sustainability is ingrained in what we do, but launching this idea that every single person has a role to play. That's what these roadshows are all about. As I said, we did one in 24 and we did one in 25. And actually, we're about to start planning for 26 because it's a long time coming. So next slide, please. So in 2024, then we ran another pulse survey and the results spoke for themselves. This is a word cloud of the results of an open question around what do you understand sustainability to be? And you can see there's a massive balancing in understanding of our strategic sustainability ambitions. So that net zero, local environment, local communities, there's always going to be an emphasis on net zero. I think that's where we're in a world of carbon tunnel vision at the moment, but I'm much more comfortable with the balance that strikes. If you can click one more slide, please. So although pinpointing a point for improvement, like a data point for improvement, in this case, the understanding of our sustainability themes, that's a great way to demonstrate the effectiveness of the strategy. And that worked for me really well. But what I'm trying to do ultimately is engage people to make actual sustainability change. And we really got to demonstrate that last year when we launched our inaugural Sustainability Awards. So the award window was in the back end of last year, and then we did the ceremony as part of the roadshow. And you got some pictures here from the awards. We had our capital investment director hosting the ceremony. And I was expecting maybe 12, 15 entries for our first ever attempt at this. We had over 50 entries to these awards of people who wanted to tell us what changes they had made, what impact they had had on sustainability in the business. And they were phenomenal. So just to give you an idea, we had London Gatwick Work Experience Week. So we had 30 students from local areas coming to do work experience in the summer of last year. First of its kind for the airport, run by a host of volunteers alongside their day job. So that was the winner in our People and Communities category. Then I always joke, you could put a pen and paper in my hand and tell me to write all of the energy efficiency ideas I could possibly think of in the airport. And I don't know how long I would have to be writing before I came up with make the baggage belting have less friction such that it uses less energy. But luckily, I don't have to come up with that because that's what sustainability engagement is all about. And then our baggage engineers came up with that themselves. And so they have been able to prove a 20% reduction in motor current by selecting baggage belting that has less friction and therefore reduces our energy use. And then in a collaborative effort between our tech and so our IT teams and our external engagement teams, we also have a Tech for Good scheme where they've donated 638 laptops, or rather, sorry, they have repurposed 638 laptops and donated £1,000 to charity through a scheme whereby staff pay a donation for a repurposed laptop. Absolutely extraordinary. These are the changes that we need in order to achieve our sustainability ambitions, and they don't just happen by the sustainability team. And actually, just as an example of this being a perpetual cycle, the trophies that we used for the awards are actually recycled security trays, and that was an idea that came from the business as well. So absolutely phenomenal. So sorry, next slide now. Thank you. All of that in our first year, and it never stops. That's now business as usual. All of those things are part of my day job. And so the next step for me was to introduce a sustainability app. So if you click on, there she is. So next slide, please. How did we get to the Be the Change program? This is a lovely screenshot of the beautiful art that we worked on with the Jump team. And what I want to do is just take you through how we got to the Jump team and so first of all, a sustainability app, and then second of all, this sustainability app being the right thing for our business. So next slide, please. I will not claim to take credit for the concept of the W's and how, but what I will say is that this idea has really helped me to structure all of my business cases and ensure that I was leaving no stone unturned during the process. And it also is really important, and this is just a good model, to ensure that you have a credible plan for your own sake. The person actually who needed to be the most convinced that a sustainability app was the right thing, worth the time and the effort and the money, was actually me, because it's me that's running it on a day-to-day basis. And so this was an exercise in convincing myself and then bringing the rest of the business on board. So it's really about that who, what, when, how, and the most important question is why. So next slide, please. So the way that we went about this at Gatwick was we ran a pilot period in one part of the business for 4 months, and we have now agreed to roll out across the entire business. And those were 2 separate business cases in and of themselves. So the broad vision is a rollout to all of our staff in phases, and where the teams in the app reflect the 21 business units that we sort of identify in the business. The trial audience, so that the pilot took place in our construction business unit. So one single business unit. They were representative of the level of maturity that we hoped to, and I think it's fair to say now, have achieved in the rest of the business by the time of the full rollout. So basically construction, the nature of construction and all of the sort of regs and everything going on is that we had a really sustainability capability wise mature construction business unit, or in a good place. So that felt like a really good place to start. And then the rest of the business, we've kind of been bringing them on that journey through training and lunch and learns, etc. Because if you don't know why any of it matters at all, that's not a great place to engage people to then download an app and start getting involved. And it was also mixed office-based and on-site, which again is representative of what's going on in the wider business. So that was why we chose the construction business unit for the pilot. And then the vision in the end, and actually this is how we ran the pilot as well, was using the web-based program and the app. Each month, the top 3 green points earners receive a £25 high five. So we're able to integrate it into our systems, which is nice for consistency. And then we also celebrate the top green point earning business unit, because that instills that kind of team competition as well. The how and the emphasis on metrics, this is the opportunity to demonstrate that you have critically thought about how the introduction of the app will land in the organization. And the success metrics for the pilot, this let the exec be the determinant of whether it was a success or not. And it's a bit like what I said with the roadmaps. If you add metrics to something, it stops being about anybody taking your word for it, and it starts being about the metrics. So we wanted to show during the pilot consistent engagement with the app over the 3 months, so not that people would get excited and then give up. We wanted to show that it was being used across the construction business unit, not just by the kind of super greens, the green allies, whatever you want to call them. And we wanted to increase the number of sustainability high fives being given via My Reward. That for us was an indication that people were taking what they were learning and all of the ideas and everything that they were seeing within the app and demonstrating them and using them outside of the app as well in other GAL systems. That was sort of our thinking there. Next slide, please. So suffice to say, those were all very successfully met at the end of the pilot period. So the next bit, and anybody who's ever had a child or a conversation with a child will be very familiar with the question, why? And I had to answer this at several levels and to multiple stakeholders. This is not just a one bite at the apple. And most importantly, as I said, I really had to convince myself. And this why was 2 stages. The first question was why jump? When we ran the pilot, we were talking about a sustainability app. So I went in with not their first rodeo. Clearly, I think the Jump team is splendid because I'm here with them today. I truly think the program functionality is top tier, but I was able to demonstrate how well suited they are for our type of workforce. And again, as an evidence base, this was really hard to argue with. So there were 3 points. The first was having a sort of single campus organization rather than a regional business, if you will. Most of the incumbent clientele were already in that boat. The second is a shift-based workforce. That's a really important feature of our workforce that I wanted to be able to have the confidence to know that Jump would be able to help me engage with. And again, that is, again, not their first rodeo. And then finally, around number of employees, we were able to demonstrate that, again, this is not, we weren't sort of the first of a large organization that Jump were going to be working with. And I think that really instilled, as I said, some confidence that this was the appropriate supplier for what we were trying to achieve. Next slide, please. So after the pilot, I had to demonstrate that this was worth putting weight behind. And building this, again, it was an exercise in proving to myself that this was going to do what I needed it to do. Because fundamentally, the purpose of a sustainability app at the airport is to increase our colleagues' engagement with sustainability. I am not trying to prove that colleagues engaged with the app. That's fine. That's obviously, it's a means to an end, but I'm trying to demonstrate sustainability engagement, and that is what the program is supposed to support. So this and the following are excerpts from the business case that I eventually put forward. I felt that there were 4 strong, demonstrable reasons on top of the success of the pilot, which we did meet all of those criteria as well. So we could show that it worked. And then why does it matter that it worked? These were my reasons why. So next slide, please. The first is that it supports the engagement strategy through all 3 pillars of the COM model. I originally thought that actually a sustainability app was going to be quite helpful from maybe a motivation perspective, but the opportunity to, oh, I shouldn't use the word opportunity when I don't mean the O in COM, should I? The functionality to improve sustainability capability through activities, through campaigns, through comms, that's so important to keep that steady drumbeat of sustainability communication coming from all channels. So that's really critical. Then it creates that opportunity through the ideas feed. We've got activities around idea sharing and feedback that mean that people have the opportunities to take what they've learned and leverage them. And then motivation, it's a fundamental part of the program to be rewarded for what you've done, whether that be the financial reward, whether it be seeing yourself on the leaderboard, the sort of team competition. It really maintains that motivation in a few different ways, which is great. Next slide, please. And you're going to have to click with me here, Sam. I think if you just start clicking, I can talk to it. But really critically for me, the app and the program builds a connection between the users and our Decade of Change goals. So we've talked about the themes and we've been able to sort of balance out the understanding of our 3 sustainability themes. But I would love, as I said, at the end of another 18 months to go up to any person in the business and say, hey, what's goal 6? And have them be able to rattle it off. That might be a pipe dream, but I'm hoping through the use of the app that we'll be able to do that, because we are able to assign activities and challenges to every single one of those goals. And yeah, if you just keep clicking, Sam, the grayed out ones, the ones that we used in the pilot. But what I was demonstrating with this slide is that actually in most of the goals, there is an opportunity to keep things fresh and to really keep building on how we can create that connection between our users and our sustainability strategy. And again, this is then when that's instilled, when there's that true sort of recognition of what it is the business is trying to achieve, that's when people sort of subconsciously switch on and go, oh, well, in my day job, I do this, and this is how I could amend that to be to help reach those goals. Next slide, please. The program also helps me out, right? From a strategic perspective, it collects feedback and it helps me to develop what happens next. So insights on activity uptake can help me decide what our next lunch and learn is going to be on. I can also take a look at, you know what, this team is just not engaging particularly well. I'm going to go hang out with them. I'm going to spend a day with whichever team that might be. And there's the opportunity as well to link upcoming events to the events page. That's really helpful for an operational business. And actually, that's part of my next reason. So I can take the behind the scenes data from this and make the rest of the engagement strategy better and more relevant, because this for me is a live feed of how people are responding to it. And that's really, really useful. Next slide, please. Frontline staff. So of the GAL, which is Gatwick Airport Limited, people who work directly for us as an airport rather than working at one of our kind of campus partners. So they work at London Gatwick, but not for Gatwick Airport, if that makes sense. And I very much am looking at engaging with Gatwick Airport Limited staff. Of about 2,500 employees, 2,000 of them are operational. So having a mechanism with which to engage with colleagues who do not have laptops, who work around the clock, who are not checking into the office daily or weekly or monthly, that is absolutely critical if this is going to be a success. I, as part of the Sustainability Roadshow in 2025, was able to work with our scheduling team to crew out some of our operational staff. And that was so well attended. Like, these colleagues want to be involved. We just need to make it easy. And our sort of main mechanism currently of engaging with the wider airport is through an app. So we know that apps are a successful way to engage with that kind of hard to reach audience. So the two combined suggests that this could be a really, really good way to keep them involved, keep them in the loop at the hours and the frequency that works for those colleagues. Next slide, please. So this is my final slide, and it wasn't meant to be dramatic. Sorry, and when I say final slide, I mean of my business case, but it's my penultimate slide to you guys as well. So we start with a recap. You know, these are the 4 reasons why this is important. But if you click one more time, Sam, I did also highlight that we still need to achieve these things. I said, okay, if we don't do this, I'm still trying to get this done. So how are we going to do that? Or how comfortable are you with not doing that? Because I truly believe this is the most effective mechanism with which to get these results. So next slide, please. That got us where we are now. We have a sign-off for to continue the program and roll out across the rest of the business. And we are currently in this really exciting collaborative phase. So I had Laura and Josh at the airport recently scoping out some changes that will really make sure that the program, when it's fully rolled out, suits our demographic and our purposes for the program. I have never heard the word no from the team. I'm sure they'll admit, and I'll admit to a maybe here and there. But it's all about taking the feedback that we've had from the pilot and creating this really bespoke experience that will ultimately drive that sustainability engagement across the airport and those sustainability results that I'm looking for. So I hope this was an interesting reflection on the journey to where we're at this stage with the programme. Who knows, maybe I'll be back in a year with some more stats and some brilliant awards to demonstrate the impact that the programme has had. But in the meantime, I'll be back when we do a Q&A, and thank you very much for listening.
Ania, thank you so much. That was fantastic. I mean, I love working with you. You've got absolutely loads of energy, and I think that shows. I always say that Ania's the kind of person who just get things done. So it's fabulous to hear from you, and exciting to roll out and introduce new features. One of my favourite new features is going to be linking the activities in the programme to the Decade of Change, and then providing the ability for Ania to record and get data on that and how it affects those particular Decade of Change goals. So really excited to get working on that soon. So thanks again, and we'll see you in a bit. And now I'll hand over to Rob.
Hello, good morning, everyone. And I'll just reiterate, thanks so much, Ania, for such a brilliant overview. There's so much great advice in there. I noted down, starting with why, if anyone's ever read or seen any Simon Sinek stuff, that's a really great place to start, and I'll get to that in a second. If you need convincing, then start with clear proof of concept pilot, and the proofs in the pudding of kind of the results we've been able to achieve so far with Gatwick, and then we can go on to scale it. Let the metrics do the talking, and people want to be involved. We just need to make it easy. Everyone's super busy. There's so much going on in the world already. We need to make this easy for people to do, and we feel that we've got a great solution for that. So can't wait to see the growth of the Be the Change program, going from strength to strength. So for those of you who don't know me, Sam, could you switch slides, please? Thank you. I'm Rob Marsh. I lead the client success and growth team at Jump. Our role is really about working alongside our engagement managers internally, and of course our clients like Ania, so that we can create the most successful program and the most successful experience for their people. We also work with existing and potential clients to help them build strong business cases for their sustainability engagement programs. And that's what I'm going to cover in the next few minutes. Ania's already done a lot of the heavy lifting for me, so I'm going to keep this super short so that we can come back and and we'll have some time for questions. So let's get stuck into it. First section is all about laying the right foundation, right? So Sam, if you could go to the next one. When building a business case, the first question to ask is, how does this sustainability engagement program, or app as Ania called it, help our organization to hit its top priorities? This is starting with the why, really. And whether that's your net zero targets, your ESG compliance, whether it's about employee attraction and retention, or whether it's about boosting your brand and helping you to become a real employer of choice. Our job is really to connect the dots clearly and make that starting point really obvious. You'll remember that Ania did a fantastic job of clearly aligning their Jump program with London Gatwick's Decade of Change goals at the start of her presentation. A sustainability engagement program isn't just a nice to have anymore. It's a powerful tool to help deliver against your leadership's agenda and help you work towards your shared vision and mission. So next slide, please, Sam. So Ania talked about this quite a bit as well. So we've all seen business cases that sound great, but they don't say what success actually looks like. So you need to get really specific here and look at what metrics you're going to use to understand the success of your program. Is it about CO2 savings? Is it about employee participation and engagement? If it is, how are you going to measure that? Of those that participate, how many actions will they be taking? And then, what does behavior change look like? How are you going to measure that within the program to ensure that it has been a successful behavior change tool? Clear outcomes build credibility and make your case much easier to approve. Next slide, please, Sam. Clearly outline the specific challenges that this program is going to help you address. So this is about really understanding the problems that you're facing, and why you need to bring in this program to help. So is it the fact that you've got a hybrid workforce that makes engagement tricky? Are your comms channels overloaded, or is your comms team stretched? Are you stretched? Everyone's stretched. Are your people a little skeptical of sustainability comms because they're too general and they need to be made more specific? There's lots of of different challenges that we hear time and time again in this space. But when you're building your specific business case for your organization, it's important that you name your challenges up front and show how this program that you're going to embark on is designed to overcome them. It shows that you've done your homework, and then it builds trust ultimately in your proposal and in the program itself. Next slide, please, Sam. So now you've set the foundations, it's time to get to work on your pitch. So this is kind of the how in the middle of your business case. Next slide, please, Sam. Right, this bit is absolutely key, especially if you've got the CFO or someone from a kind of finance position as part of your decision-making group. Can you show potential financial savings? A couple of years ago, we developed a savings calculator with Northumbria University to try and quantify the projected savings from a jump program. If we can effectively shift behaviors across areas like energy, business travel, and waste, your organization will realize cost savings. And if we can do that with enough people, then the ROI should be a positive one too. So let us know in the comments or in the chat if you want more info on the savings calculator. Sam, maybe you could whip in the link on our website, and we can also work on some projections with you if that's of interest or if it'd be useful. Next slide, please, Sam. So in terms of building stakeholder alignment, you need to think like a campaign manager. You know, who needs to say yes to this decision? CFOs love savings, like we just saw. HR wants employee engagement. Sustainability and facilities leads need metrics and data. Tailor your message for each stakeholder in your decision-making group and bring people in early to co-create if you can. If they feel like they're part of this project from an early stage, they'll feel more ownership of it, just alongside you. And then once the proposal is approved, the program will also be more likely to succeed because other people are invested in it alongside you as well. So it'll make for a much more effective experience in the long run if you do start to bring people in earlier too. Next slide, please. So this is all about user experience, okay? So putting the user front and center, something that we talk about a lot at Team Jump. Imagine you're an employee logging into your new program, your new app, whether that be mobile or a web app. Is it engaging? Is it relevant to me? Is it easy to use? Our mission, as Laura said at the start, it's all about empowering and motivating people to take action for a sustainable future. So we're looking for engagement at scale. We're not just looking to bring along your sustainability champions who will already be keen to get involved anyway, I'm sure, but we're looking for as many people as possible. So that means the program needs to feel inclusive, it needs to be accessible, and it needs to be fun as well. We bring in like competitions, campaigns, we try, and that's where the rewards play a part in it as well. But it also means that it needs to be customized to your organization, your audience, and your goals. Off-the-shelf solutions, they just don't work at scale. So that customized element is really, really crucial. Next slide, please, Sam. Okay, so now that you've got your foundations and your case, it's time to make the ask. Next slide. So this is something that Ania obviously covered really in detail. If budget is tight or your leadership is cautious, or even you're cautious, and like Ania, you just need convincing in the concept as well, start with a pilot. Low risk, clear scope, measurable impact. It's a really smart move, and you can just let the results do the talking. There's no room for grey when you're starting with the pilot and you can see the clear results, and then you can use it to sort of scale. You have to make sure that the pilot is designed from the start to be scalable. So there's got to be a clear plan in place. But ultimately what you're doing is you're laying the foundations for a larger rollout, and you're giving yourself a low risk chance to make a start, basically. And if you want more help mapping out that process with us, then please do let us know. It's something that we're very comfortable and experienced in doing. Next slide, please. You're also not the first to do this. As Ania said, this was part of her decision-making process, looking at our existing client base and making comparisons with the type of organization that Gatwick is. And that is a good thing. You're in good company, but it also means that you can use case studies, you can use benchmarks, you can even use platform data from others that have done this before to back up your claims. So what you want to do is find a similar type of organization, or if you can't find the same sort of organization, it's all about finding the type of audience, the type of, whether it be a workforce, or we run resident engagement programs, or whether it's a university and it's the staff and student programs. Just look for something where there's similarities and then dig into the results of their program. You can ask us, or even we can introduce you to members of our community like Ania or like other clients who can give you their first-hand experience and the results that their program has achieved as well. And that kind of evidence is really persuasive, especially with decision makers who want proof, not promises. Next slide, please, Sam. Presentation matters. It really does. So you want to turn your business case into a compelling, visually clear document and/or presentation, something that's really going to get the message across with clarity and precision. So use bold headlines, infographics, short sections. Consider using video. Everyone kind of absorb things through video much easier these days. But also, would people in your decision-making group benefit from a 5-minute user experience demo, or would they benefit from meeting the team jump leadership team? So there's lots of different ways that you can make this jump out at your decision making group. But you want to speak in outcomes, not features, and don't forget the executive summary. It's really crucial. Busy people read that and nothing else. So you have to get that bit. If anything, that's the key part you want to get right. Next slide, please, Sam. So this is the last tip. Timing is very crucial. You want to align your proposal and your business case with budgeting cycles, or with ESG report deadlines, or when your leadership is already focused on sustainability. And let's be honest, nowadays, what leadership team isn't? So there should be plenty of opportunities for you to bring this up. But you do want to catch the wave when interest is high, and you'll find then that the doors are much easier to sort of push open. And last slide from me before we go into a Q&A. If all of that sounds like too much to do alongside everything else that you're juggling in this very busy role that you're in, then we are here to help. Let us do the heavy lifting for you and work with you to build an airtight business case and tailored proposal for your organization and your needs. So if that sounds like something that you'd like to talk through with us, please leave us a comment in the thread or drop us an email, reach out to us afterwards, and we can get that process started. So thank you for listening. We've got just under 10 minutes now, so maybe if we all come back and we can answer any questions that people might have. I can see there's a hand raised. Do you want to take over, Laura?
Yeah, thanks so much for listening to Rob. That was really interesting, and I hope it's given you something to take away and put into practice and support some of your business cases. So looking at the questions now, I can't see a hand raised. Rob, am I missing something? Okay.
Yeah, I think Paul's got his hand raised. Paul Bailey, is that right? Oh, is it?
Oh, yeah.
Got you.
Right,
Sorry.
so let's go to Paul's question. So great presentations, some excellent ideas at Gatwick. Ania, who is the owner of the carbon associated with aviation fuel for flights?
Sure. So this is goal 7 of our decade of change, which addresses scope 3 emissions, which are those that we don't have direct control of, but certainly with aviation emissions have a role to play in decarbonising the aviation industry. So that goal is called airline and surface access emissions. So one of my team members is our carbon policy manager, and she holds oversight of that goal. But the work that we can do at the airport specifically around aviation emissions is typically associated with the airfield or the aerodrome. So it's a collaborative effort, both internally within the sustainability team and the operational teams, but also externally, because the scope 1 with whom that sits is within the airlines and industry. So it's a collaborative effort.
Cool. Thank you, Ania. And super insightful, thank you. Question for Ania from Anna. How do you balance supporting employees of GAL in contributing to sustainability efforts while also recognising the time and resource pressures faced by those working in critical operational areas of the airport? Good question.
It's a really, really good question, because one person's empowerment and feeling empowered to take part in our sustainability strategy is another person's slopey shoulders. Isn't sustainability in your job title? You do it. I'm busy. So really it's about first of all, taking the people on the journey who want to come. You know, when I first started, I showed that graph of the different responses to who wants to be involved in sustainability, I'm okay with some people who want to just go to work and come back and leave it at that. But for those that do want to get involved, it's about making it as easy as possible. So we have business unit sustainability action plans that colleagues can contribute to. We're trying to leverage hashtags on Viva Engage with sort of varying success that is like somewhat generationally reflective. But if you've got an idea and you don't know what to do with it, just put it on Viva Engage, hashtag sustainability action plan, and I'm tracking that. The delivery of the ideas, that doesn't necessarily have to sit with the team. It might be that someone has a phenomenal idea and I am able to take from my kind of piloting or project budget and support that. And also, perhaps most importantly, a lot of sustainability ideas have other operational efficiencies that mean that the purpose of the idea may have been rooted in sustainability. They've attended a training, they've seen a lunch and learn, and they've been triggered into like, oh my goodness, we could do this. And then they've unpacked it, and there's an operational efficiency or a cost saving or a time saving that means that this makes sense for it to be owned by that business unit, because the benefit will be seen by that business unit as well as by our corporate sustainability goals. So I guess to sum up, if you don't want to, don't, and make it as easy as possible. And a reminder that a sustainability win can be a business win as well.
Yeah, thank you. And also, Anna, it's making sure it's relevant as well. And we do have some organisations have what we call a role selector functionality, so actually able to pinpoint certain parts of the business and provide really, really relevant bespoke information about what they need to do in their role as well. So making it really relevant really helps too. And then another question, this is actually from me, Anya. So after you, who was the hardest stakeholder to convince and how did you manage to twist their arm?
So I'm not sure I've convinced them yet. I think you might be expecting me to say our exec co, and certainly that was the biggest challenge so far. And to be honest, that really was going through Rob's checklist. That was you'd almost think we planned that, wouldn't you? Between my case study and the theory behind it. But actually, I think the challenge will really start when we roll out, and I have to go and get every individual online and engaging with the app. And I think that then ties into Josh's question, because I can see the Q&A around communication channels. And in the pilot, our method was really, really hands-on, a tactile approach in the office, because that business unit sits in their own office, really easy to just go up, be in team meetings, and sort of be sat on everybody's shoulders and say, right, have you downloaded it yet? How's it going, etc. And that was so effective. And as a result, I really insisted upon a phased rollout. So we will do office staff first, and then we will go into the op, so that those channels can be as bespoke as possible. So there'll be sign-up competitions, but I will be in team meetings. I'll be as personal as possible. And I think the other really important thing that worked, so in construction, I brought a few, if you will, super greens into the development phase and the UAT phase before we went into the pilot, and they helped to spread the word within the construction business unit. I will do the same. I've got, if you will, like almost a sustainability champion in every business unit, and they will come on board in this next kind of UAT phase before I roll out to the whole business, so that every business unit has almost an expert in the program who can be championing it and piloting it, championing it, and helping people if there's with oh, like, this is how this works, blah blah blah, but for it to feel really, really personal, because that's, I think, making things exactly as you just said, Laura, personal and relevant to the individual. That's how you convince them to come on board.
Yeah, amazing, thank you. And one last question before we finish up from Katie. Did you face resistance from senior management, and how did you overcome that?
No is the short answer, but I think that comes, the reason behind that is because of being prepared. And the jump team will probably say, with some sort of trauma in their eyes, this took a long time. We finished the pilot in January, and I did not attempt to get sign off until April, and that was because first I did a first presentation on look how successful this pilot was. That was its own, there were no asks, it was just look how well this went, let's celebrate how fabulous this experience was. And that got people interested. Oh, what are our next steps going to be? Oh, well, wouldn't you like to know? Come back next month. And then really took the time to formulate that business case, a lot of optioneering around cost and time, etc. And then taking it to individual stakeholders as well. I find in any business case, because I propose a lot of things in my role, it is not good to blindside your key stakeholders. So my team report into our chief technical officer. He is not seeing anything for the first time when I'm going out in front of the exec, you know, and really just making sure that when you're going into a meeting, you know that you've got your allies and your champions that are going to help steer the conversation the way that is most beneficial to the business before you go. And that comes, as I said, from not surprising anyone, basically.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Ania. You've been absolutely fantastic. I hope everyone's enjoyed it and taken something away. We will follow up with the webinar with a recording and slides, but do get in touch if you have any more questions. I'm sure you could link in with Ania as well on LinkedIn and any of us here. So hope you have a lovely rest of your week and see you again soon.
Cheers all.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.